Well, joining us now from Washington is Chris Garcia. He's a former deputy director for the U.S. Department of Commerce under President Trump. But first, let's go to Roger Fisk. He's a Democratic strategist. He's also a former Obama administration official. And let me start with you, Roger. The Democrats did, as a strategist, grade their campaign. Did they run the kind of campaign that is going to give them the House, a shot at the Senate, and pick up some of those key governorships?
First off, thank you so much for having me. And I think the short answer is yes. For the first time in a while, the Democrats have run a decentralized race, which would be to say that each candidate is free to define themselves and listen intensely to their district and not have to fit some national mold. You've seen the flip side of that with the president, who, despite economic news and a whole bunch of other things that he could be out there talking about, first off insists on making it about himself, which is what he does in any situation. And second off, makes it all about the caravan, fear, stoking resentment, racial animosity, etc. So I think the Democrats have a good formula, letting someone in, for example, Pennsylvania run differently than someone in Arizona. And I think the Republicans are going to regret that they didn't define a larger strategy that wasn't just the beginning and middle and end of which was the president's personality.
Chris, well, what's your take on that, on the president's decision to really drive the conversation towards a fear-based, immigration-focused one, when there is a lot of economic news to talk about? Are Republicans across the country on board with that message?
Yeah, Calev and Nurit, thanks for having me on. I think the president has been very smart to nationalize this election, because this is all about him. This is about whether you're for President Trump's policies that have led to more American prosperity, more Americans being employed than in the history of the United States, the lowest African-American and Hispanic and American unemployment in the history of the United States. And yes, it's about national security. Do you want to have open borders, or do you want to know who's coming into your country, period?
Roger, let me just focus a bit on the economy. Traditionally, that is a key issue. It's the economy, stupid, and the Democrats have had probably an uphill battle in that regard.
Well, not necessarily. Let's look at a couple Octobers. October of 2014, the Obama economy created 255,000 jobs, 5,000 more than the Trump economy did last year. October of 2015, the Obama economy created 351,000, 100,000 more jobs. And last year, the October of 2017, the Trump economy created 170. So the job creation has actually slowed. President Obama created 4.5 million jobs in his last 20 months, and President Trump has created just a little over 4 million jobs in his first 20 months. So perhaps that's why he's going to immigration, because for the most part, his economic message is smoke and mirrors.
Chris, your reaction?
Yeah, first of all, if you want to compare Obama and Trump economies, President Obama did it with zero interest rates, by spending and printing $5 trillion, by raising taxes, and by putting us $9 trillion more in debt. President Trump has done it with higher interest rates. He's done it with the old-fashioned way, by cutting taxes, putting more money in Americans' pockets. You know, it's under President Trump who's got the lowest African-American unemployment rate, the lowest Hispanic American unemployment rate, who's got more women employed today, not President Obama. It's President Trump who has the highest business confidence in 20 years, who's got the highest consumer confidence in 20 years, not President Obama. And it's President Trump who's hosted minority business owners in the Oval Office and celebrated their accomplishments and their contributions, not President Obama. In fact, President Trump is the one that has higher wage growth for middle-income Americans, not President Obama.
Chris,
in fact, the disparity between African Americans and white Americans grew under President Obama,
right, Roger,
not President Trump.
So your contention is that President Obama never hosted minority entrepreneurs in the Oval Office, is what you're implying right then.
I was the head of the Minority Business Development Agency. I was the head of the Minority Business Development Agency, and he hosted us in the Oval Office, not President Obama.
All right, Roger, go ahead.
But you weren't there during the Obama administration. You don't know what MBDA did during the Obama administration. So again, I'll ask you very directly. Your contention is that President Obama never hosted minority entrepreneurs in the Oval Office. That's what you're saying.
Not for minority enterprise development.
So you might as well own it. Oh, okay. So
I am owning it. I was there.
A niche little specifically named event. You were there for a year. I was at Commerce for 3 years. I know exactly
the most
what President
historic
Obama
event
did
for
with
minority businesses in the
All right,
history
so
of the
let's
country.
bring this